Welcome back, and as we break down week 4 of the football season, I'm Wyndell Campbell, your good neighbor State Farm agent in Oskaloosa. You are watching the State Farm Football Update with Oski News. We'll be breaking down all the action from week 4 and taking a look ahead at what's going to happen in week 5. It's the State Farm Football Update.
Rest easy. State Farm agent Wyndell Campbell is there for you. Call 641-673-4462 today for the service you deserve.
And as we take a look at what happened in week 4, it saw the Oskaloosa Indians move to 3-1 on their young season, 2-0 in their district as they took a 30-13 decision from the Mount Pleasant Panthers. The Indians forced turnovers on their first 2 defensive possessions. They rolled to 3-1 to open the season. The stingy Indian defense did not allow a score as the 2 Mount Pleasant touchdowns were scored against the special teams on a blocked punt and a kickoff return. The Indians got the scoring started with a field goal by freshman Aaron Blom, and they followed it with a 78-yard strike, Ethan Arnold, to Bennett Spry to take an early 10-0 lead. The Panthers encountered a blocked punt and returned it to close the gap to 10-7, and Blom was called on again and connected on his second field goal of the night to give the Indians a 13-7 advantage into the locker room. More on his field goals in a minute. Ethan Arnold ran from 12 yards out in the third quarter and added a late touchdown for a final of 30-13. Some offensive leaders on that side of the ball. Ethan Arnold rushing 13 times for 119 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 18 for 33 passing, 291 yards through the air. Ethan Arnold accounted for all 3 of the touchdowns, either rushing or passing. Bennett Spry caught the lone receiving touchdown. He grabbed 7 balls for 186 yards, and Blake Alsop ended the night 14 rushes for 81 yards. Big story tonight, though, freshman Aaron Blom, a freshman kicker. I'm going to say it again. The freshman kicker, Aaron Blom, as he kicked a 50-yard field goal to end the first half. Let me say that again. Freshman kicker, 50-yard field goal. High school football. That's what school record. The previous one of 42 yards was shattered by 8 yards, and by all accounts, he probably had another 5 to 10 yards on that ball. He ended the night 3 for 4 in field goals, scoring a total of 9 points on the night. Oski's going to hit the road for week 3 of their districts as they go on the road and look at a big challenge as they take on a Solon team. The Solon, a traditional powerhouse in the Iowa City area. We'll take a break here real quick. We'll come back with a breakdown of what happened in North Mahaska's second week of districts. You're watching the State Farm Sports Update.
I was very excited with, once again, the effort was pretty good. At times we were a little bit flat. We had a couple of big blunders on special teams. We gave up 13 points. Otherwise, we have another shutout, and I really like shutouts, so I was going for a shutout. A little disappointed, but our overall team goal defensively is less than 15 points, and so we still reached that. Caused some good turnovers. We played well. We played well on defense, and we played well on offense too at times. It's just building that consistency to where we're consistently getting first downs, consistently moving the ball down the field, and we made great strides tonight. So I'm very, very happy with what they were doing all over the place. And overall, great effort. Great effort, so you can never be disappointed with great effort from a team.
In your both facets of the game, both the running and the passing game,
you bet.
Seem to see great improvement this week.
You bet. Yeah, there's a lot of weapons out there, and I hesitate to even say names because I don't want to know, people we haven't quite used or got the ball to yet. I don't really want people to know about them. There are a lot of weapons out there on that field, so it's figuring out the blocking schemes long enough for Arnold to be able to throw the ball because he's been on the money better as of late. This week he really turned it on. He was throwing the ball to money. We're just pumped up to see making some strides. It's so tough implementing a new offense and one that's so different from what we've done previously too. It's tough to do. So my hat's off to those guys.
Week 3 of districts saw the North Mahaska Warhawks go on the road to the Pekin Panthers, and one of the most exciting games that we've had, me and Cousin Ed called that one on KIIC.5, as we'll be streaming every live game of the North Mahaska Warhawks this season. Cole Sprostra started the night out with a 3-yard touchdown run in the first quarter. Pekin tied it up on a Trevor Northrup 5-yard run. The Sprostra scored his second touchdown of the night late in the second quarter, and the Warhawks had a chance to take another score on the board going into the locker room at halftime, but failed to make a conversion as they ran out of time. I think the coaching staff thought they had one more timeout, but nonetheless took a 14-7 lead into the locker room at halftime. The North Mahaska offense had to make do as late in the fourth quarter, Ben Sherburne threw an interception and a pick six as Trevor Northrup again for the Pekin Panthers returned the ball 25 yards for a touchdown, making it 21-14. North Mahaska responded with the drive late in the fourth quarter and scored with 55 seconds to go. Coach Stubbs and the Warhawks took a timeout, talked about it, ran the exact same play they scored on. One of the defenders for the Pekin Panthers was able to knock the ball away, and the Pekin Panthers able to hold on to that late defensive stop, 21-20 being the final score in that one. Your offensive leaders of the night, Sherburne ended the night 14 for 24 passing, 151 yards. Brant Fleener caught 7 passes for 81 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, Gage Van Gorp had 7 tackles. Trey Byer had 6.5 tackles and 2 sacks. North Mahaska will welcome New London to town here this week as their next week of districts, and it will be homecoming in North Mahaska. You can catch all the action there on KIIC.5 on the Thunderbolt Radio app or live KIICradio.com. Me and Cousin Ed will be calling it. Kickoff will be at 7 o'clock. Pregame will start at 6:50. We'll take a break here real quick, and we'll come back and look at the rest of the scores from the area from week 4.
Rest easy. State Farm agent Wyndell Campbell is there for you. Call 641-673-4462 today for the service you deserve.
And now we'll look at the rest of the scores from Week 4 action in South Central Iowa. The PCM Mustangs go on the road and take it to the Centerville Big Reds 56-0. The Davis County Mustangs in a close one. Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont pulls that one out 32-29. Central Lee Hawks take it to Albia Blue Demons 38-0. Another tough year down in Albia. Or I should say what's going to be a tough year down in Albia is they've only scored 1 touchdown so far on the year. The Sheraton Chargers got beat by the Clark Indians 14-6. The Nevada Cubs Knoxville Panthers, another close one, 19-15. Nevada takes this one. A lot closer scores here this week than what we saw last week. Last week seemed to be the week of the blowout. The Moravia Mohawks 58, Seymour Warriors 6. There's a blowout for the week. Atumwa Bulldogs, as they struggle on their season as well. Roosevelt Rough Riders take it to them 24-3. They're still looking for their first victory of the year. Twin Cedar Sabres 64, the Tri-County Trojans 8. Wayne Falcons 22, Stanton Vikings 52. Montezuma Braves, as they went on the road to New London Tigers. New London will be in North Mahaska here this week for their homecoming. And the Montezuma Braves, late touchdown, the difference in this one as the Tigers of New London take this one 28-22. Fairfield Trojans 33, Keokuk Chiefs 16. The Colonesco Royals 76, the Melcher Dallas Saints 28. And the BGM Bears get it handed to them. There's Grandview Christian Thunder 61, the BGM Bears 7. And now here's a look at what's getting ready to happen in Week 5 as the Oskaloosa Indians are going to hit the road. Another long road trip as this district is not going to be friendly to them in the Miles Division as they go on the road to take on Solon here this week. That game will start right about 7:30 as they will have a freshman game prior to that one. Me and Cousin Ed will have North Mahaska at home for homecoming as they welcome New London. New London coming off a victory against Montezuma at home last week. And the North Mahaska Warhawks will be up to the challenge as the New London Tigers come to town this week. Little look at what else is getting ready to happen. Albia will be welcoming Eddyville Blacksburg Fremont to town. Davis County will be at home against Clark. Centerville will be on the road at Sheraton. Eddyville, again, at Albia. Sheraton home against Centerville. The Atumwa Bulldogs will be at home against Linn-Mar. They're still looking for their first victory of the season. The Pella Little Dutch will be on the road at Grinnell in district action there as well. Pella Christian at Mount Ayr. Pella Christian, we didn't have that score earlier, but beating I-35 last year. I don't believe Pella Christian has given up a single point so far in this season, and they are ranked near to the top, if not the top, in Class 1A here in the state of Iowa. They will be welcoming Mount Ayr at home in their third week of the district. Sigourney Keota coming off a rough week at Iowa City Regina. All roads to the 1A Class Championship are going to go through Iowa City. They hung with the Regals of Iowa City last week for 3 quarters as Iowa City was able to score late in the fourth quarter of that one, but they will be home against Van Buren here this week. Wayne will be at Bedford coming up in Week 5 action. Moravia will be at home against HLV in 8-man action. Melcher Dallas will be at home against Meskwaki. Montezuma will be at home against Danville, and that game has actually been postponed or canceled as Danville has struggled to have enough players to play. What would have been Montezuma's homecoming here this week, they will not be having a game. They will have other festivities on Friday night, including some inductions into their Hall of Fame there at the new gym. Southeast Warren will be at home against Riverside. Pekin in North Mahaska's district will be at home against Van Buren. Seymour will be at Tri-County. Would be welcoming Seymour in for that game in 8-man action. And Twin Cedars again in 8-man, the Colonesco, the Royals of Colonesco. That one a matchup from Colonesco a playoff team last year in 8-man football. So that's what's getting ready to happen here in Week 5. We thank you for tuning in and keeping us on your YouTube dial. Check back with us next week. We'll break down all of what happened in Week 5, get a better idea of the playoff picture for what's happening in some of these districts as we get deeper into the season. Again, that's Oskaloosa on the road at Solon coming up here this Friday night around 7:30 after the freshman game. North Mahaska at home with homecoming New London. You can catch that with me and Cousin Ed, KIIC.5. I'm your good neighbor, State Farm Agent in Oskaloosa, Wyndell Campbell. We thank you for watching the State Farm Football Sports Update on Oski News. We'll catch you next week.